Hello collectors, and welcome. As mentioned in the past, English is not my native language, so please have a little understanding for any mistakes that I might make. Last month I worked hard to modify all my figures and collectible which have a lighting function and to wire them to a central power supply. A lot of my figures are Iron Man and they look great in an illuminated cabinet. But when the figures have their lights on, it looks really good. Let's be honest, who wants to switch on more than 100 switches? Furthermore, when you have turned them on, the batteries are dead after a few hours. From a technical point of view, I thought it would be possible to integrate a central solution for the figures, but most of the manufacturers don't supply such a solution. After some trial and error, I found what I think is a practical solution. I've recently posted a lot of pictures about this subject on Facebook and several international and German groups. Many readers have asked me to make a video tutorial. Now I have decided to make it. And here it is. In the video, I will show you how to change a figure from battery to a central power supply solution. Please understand, I accept no responsibility for the correctness of the information shown in this video. If you change the lighting on your figures, you do it entirely at your own risk. Firstly, I will show you which materials I used. The battery compartments in the figures and the collectibles are often populated with differing battery types, and the batteries have a differing diameter. So you will need two different types of plastic rods, 6 mm and 8 mm diameter. At the end of the video, I will post the list which type of rods I used for the differing battery types and how long they need to be complete one compartment. Why plastic rods? Very easy. It is necessary that no electrical connection is possible between the contacts and the battery compartment. For the contacts, I will use copper foil with a 0.5 mm thickness. I will show you later in the video how to make contacts from the copper foil. The cables used are high flexible copper cable with a cross section of 0.04 square millimeters. I will be using JST plug to be able to remove the figures from the cabinets without having to cut the cables, and for more flexibility when I want to change the figure's location in the cabinets. Electrical tape to isolate the soldered parts, glue to glue the copper contacts to the plastic rods, a battery box to testing the installed adapters and the complete figures, and last, solder. That's all. Additionally, you need some tools. A soldering iron, hole punches, some different types of screwdrivers, a wire cutter, a cable stripper, ruler or tape measure in centimeters, and a big knife. Before I start, some additional information. Most of the battery compartments have 3 batteries. Every battery has a voltage of 1.5 volts. Therefore, the operating voltage of the LEDs is 4.5 volts, 3 times 1.5 volts. This video is only for battery compartments that have 4.5 volts. Some figures have compartments with only 2 batteries, 3 volts in total, or battery types with different voltage. In this case, you need a different power supply. It is not possible to connect figures that require different voltages to the same power supply. If you do that, you will damage the LEDs in your figure. Before you start, check the operation manual concerning the battery compartment for each of the figure which you want to change. From my point of view and the test I made, it is better to operate the 4.5 voltage compartments with only 3 voltage, because with 4.5 the LEDs are too bright and the risk of a damage in a short time is too high. So I decided to operate all my 4.5 voltage compartments with 3 volts to minimize the risk of a damage of the LEDs. In this video, I will change the Ironman heartbreaker from Hot Toys. The figure has 4 compartments. Head and arms are AG1 or LR621, and the backside is AG9 or LR936 for the arc reactor. So I will need 4 battery adapters for the figure. Firstly, I'll cut the cables to the required length. For the Ironman heartbreaker figure, I'll need length of 38 centimeters for the head, 40 centimeters for the arms, and 30 centimeters for the arc reactor. For the head, two times for the arms, and the last for the backside arc reactor. Next, I will need 3 plastic rods from the 6 mm and 1 plastic rod from the 8 mm, cut to the correct length. As I mentioned earlier, at the end of the video, you will find a list of the battery types and the length of the rods required. Now I will need 8 copper discs for the contacts at the end of the plastic rods. I use a hole punch to punch out the disc from the copper foil. You can see my punch isn't very good because I have used it several times, and I think with a new one it is better. Now all the parts needed to assemble the adapters are ready, and I can start to put them together. Next step is to solder one red wire on one copper disc and one black wire onto another copper disc. This needs to be repeated for the other 3 red and 3 black wires. Next, I will glue the copper disc onto the end of the rods. Each rod has one disc with a red wire and one disc with a black wire. I hate it. next try. One adapter is now finished. The process can be repeated for the other adapters. Now the 4 adapters are finished and we can start with the installation. Firstly, remove all covers from the battery compartments. Attention, use the correct screwdriver and do not damage the screws. Now we can install the first adapter. My heartbreaker I have finished several weeks ago, so you can see how I install the adapter and use the little slot to bring the cable out of the compartment in the head. And here you can see the little slot. And in the arms compartment and the arc reactor compartment, I do not open it because it's the same as here and in the head. Next step is to close all the battery compartments and put all switches in the position on. Now you can see I gather up the wires and lead them to the bottom of the figure. Then you must gather all the red wires and then all the black wires and connect them to the GST plug. This is because the wiring will be parallel and not serial. After bringing the wires together, we can check the adapters and the lightning with the battery box. So I connect the battery box figure and put the switch on. And all lights are finished. From time to time it is possible that one of the lights don't up. Then please open a second time the battery compartment, control the adapter. Sometimes it is possible that there is a contact problem, but normally it is functioning. Now the figure is ready to be connected to the power supply. I'm using a power plug where a switch regulates the voltage. Bring the switch on the power supply in the right position, 3 volt voltage, and Additionally, I use one of the adapters which is connected to one of these parts. And now, when I put in the plug and connect the figure, the lights are up, bright enough with 3 voltage. Lastly, I'd like to show you the cabling in the cabinet. I gathered the wires together on every shelf and installed cable conduits so as to get a better appearance when all the JST plugs come together into one cable at the bottom of the cabinet. This is very easy. You will only need to connect all red cables and all black cables together, parallel wiring. At the bottom, you can see the connection of all cables to the power supply. And if you are finished, this is possible. Computer, Iron Man einschalten. That's all, guys. In my collection, I have approximately 15 figures that still have to be finished. I expect to have all the figures wired by the end of this year, sorry. Have a nice day.